What's up, everyone? Welcome back to episode number 3 of the Gaming on the Brain podcast. Today, we're going to be covering the Atari arcade fighting game, Pit Fighter, which was released on the Atari G1 hardware. This was released back in 1990 in the arcades.
Yep.
Obviously, as always, I'm here with Glenn.
Hello.
And, yep, we're going to pretty much get straight on into the episode today. We don't have any comments to read out, so please do, drop us a comment so we can have a chat with you guys as well. But yeah, we'll see you after the short musical break.
We're looking forward to this wild ride with you while we go through the wonderful world of Pit Fighter.
Yep, indeed. See you shortly, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've got gaming on the brain.
Welcome back, fellow nerds, to another episode of the Gaming on the Brain podcast. This week we have an Atari fighting game. I was going to say a beat 'em up there, Glenn, but...
Well, is it a fighting game? Is it a beat 'em up, or is it a beating fighting game? It's a bit of both, really.
It's a pit fighting game, Glenn. That's what it is.
Game. Yeah, I like that.
So, as you probably just worked out from what I've just said, because I'm not very good at keeping secrets, today's episode is all about the Atari G1 arcade game, which is Pit Fighter.
Yeah.
The G1 hardware was very limited in use.
Yeah, it only used one other game, and that was Hydra, which, by the way, you should check out because it's quite a great game in its own right.
It's one I haven't checked out myself yet, honestly, Glenn, but I think I'm going to have a look at that one tonight.
Yeah,
I've got a couple of beers in my hand.
Yeah,
but
it's a little bit like a version of Road Blasters on water.
Which was
a good describe it.
It was
That's
a good
no bad
game.
thing.
Yeah, Road Blasters was definitely a fun game. There's another one as well I played just recently that's similar to that, where you're in hovercrafts.
Aquajack.
That's it.
Taito's.
Taito, yeah.
Taito's Aquajack, yeah, another class game.
Good sprite scale on that as well,
good,
yeah.
very good.
It was quite a fun game. You're jumping all obstacles, and it reminds me a bit of Spy Hunter, the water section. But
yeah, it's great. I've watched a few long players and had a quick game of that as well.
Anyway, circling back to Pit Fighter.
Yeah. So
Pit Fighter was released in 1990 in the arcades.
That's correct, yeah.
It's a digitized sprite group fighting game.
I tell you what, if you hadn't played Pit Fighter, which you probably have, or you know of it, a good comparison would be Street Smart by SNK.
Yeah.
It's a beat 'em up where you don't have a great lot in the way of technique. It's more of a brawler, but you're fighting. It's like a Royal Rumble, so you might have two players. You could play a one-player game, but the best way to play is two or even three players in the case of the big Pit Fighter cabinet. And you're fighting 3-on-3, so you'll have 3 human players and 3 computer-controlled opponents. 8 unique opponents, which we'll get to later. And you can either work together or you can beat the crap out of each other as well, which is just as fun.
I think I was trying to think earlier today about like current or sort of more modern era games that you can compare Pit Fighter to, and the closest I could get was Power Stone.
Power Stone, yeah, Power Stone. Very loose. But obviously, you're talking about like a 10-year gap, pretty much.
Yeah.
And Power Stone is a lot more technical than Pit Fighter. But
absolutely.
It's just if you like Power Stone and you wanted to play a retro game that was not in the exact vein of Street Fighter, then you might like to give Pit Fighter a go just to have a laugh even.
It's similar in the sense that you're running around an arena, picking up weapons, hiking them at each other, and basically just bashing whoever gets closest, Generally, it's computer versus players.
Yes.
But there's no stopping you from smacking your friend about as well.
The thing about Pit Fighter is it doesn't have a true versus mode in the normal sense. Mm-hmm. So you can't just put your credits in and then face off 2 or even 3 players in a battle royale round. It doesn't work that way. There is a such thing as a grudge match levels, which happen every 2 matches. Well, it's every 3rd match. And that is a short, quick bonus round where you just see who gets the most knockdowns or the first knockdowns, and then they win the highest amount of bonus points, which is actually translates to cash dollars.
So I think one of the big things that stands out about Pit Fighter arcade version and all versions is its digitized sprites.
Yeah.
Now, this game predates Mortal Kombat by 2 years.
Yeah, yes. Which does have to be taken into account if you haven't actually seen it in action.
And what also looks really, really good when you're looking at the arcade cabinet, I mean, we're talking a game that's, 33 years old here at this point. But not only have you got digitized sprites, but you've also got sprite scaling. So as your enemies, your characters walk into the screen towards you to get larger.
So just to add, by the way, the sprite scaling, remember this game actually predates Samurai Showdown by 3 years, and games like Art of Fighting as well, like S&K games that use sprites, like not digitized, pixel art sprites.
Yeah.
But you're talking about a form of sprite scaling 2 and 3 years before.
When they get further away from each other, it zooms out the screen, and as you get closer, it zooms in. Pit Fighter, it doesn't work. It doesn't work choppy. Like that completely.
Yeah, it's choppy. Yeah. But it's nice that they've had it. And when the sprites are at the very foreground of the screen, absolutely massive. Yeah. And you can make out the detail in the faces and that, and the clothes that they wear. Yeah. So even though they're quite choppy and they're quite pixely as well, they're not terrible, and they have got their own charm as well.
I think for a 1990 release, it was quite a spectacle to behold, if I'm honest. It was, I remember being drawn in by it probably around about 92, 93 when I first laid eyes on it.
The Mega Drive version, and we dropped back on the arcade game.
But it's a fun game. We're going to obviously explain it a bit more in depth to you guys, talk you through some of the enemies and stuff like that, and just give you our opinion on it and why we think you should go and play Pit Fighter.
Give it a shot
if you can find it
already,
or emulate it.
Of course,
somebody said that. But so I think hardware really would brought down genre. It's a bit of a mixed bag. Can't really put that into a kind of whole, in a sense. You've got a bit of a few different games.
I actually have boiled Pit Fighter down to, and the closest fighting game category or beat 'em up category I can put in, it falls into what I call the boss battle genre, basically.
Yeah,
so it's not, again, as I said, it's still got the brawler elements to it. But if you think of, say, Street Fighter 1 or Ya Kung Fu, obviously single player and fighting games, but where you'll take a player character and then you'll fight a series of unplayable computer controlled characters, or bosses if you want to call it, because it feels like boss fights, and then you'll beat the game. So you don't have many selectable characters, or you might even only play as one character, but you'll go through that linear roster of enemies, or linear sort of tournament mode, and then you'll complete the game at the end. So that generally speaking, this type of game, in my opinion, doesn't have the greatest replayability, but Pit Fighter does have 3 very unique characters.
Yeah.
That does give 3 very different ways to play the game. In fact, each character as well, and I believe this is probably not intentional, but each character also has very massive ways of massively different difficulties in playing as them. So some are the 1 or 2 characters who we'll get to are just way more powerful than others. But if you want to basically put a crutch on yourself, which there's people out there who do like to do that for challenge. Play Kato. And if you don't want to put that crutch on, play Tatty.
Yeah.
But as I said, there's 3 really good characters, which I think we definitely should have a little chat about.
Oh, we will, yeah. We'll get into that shortly. But plot, I mean, there's not really much of a plot.
The plot's great. I mean, I've looked up the plot, and it is as bare bones as getting. Now, you've got to remember, Pit Fighter came out in 1990, as previously discussed. And if you have a think about it, what film came out in the prior year, and that was Bloodsport.
Yeah. Which,
funny enough, looking at some of the paperwork that we actually have hold of for Pit Fighter, as in the pre-production prototype paperwork, one of the titles of the game is Bloodsport. There's many other titles, but you can clearly see they've looked at that film. They've probably looked at Kickboxer and anything in the years before that, to take inspiration. Because it's great because the name is just beautiful. It boils down to what exactly the game is. I mean, you literally do fighting pits for most of the levels.
Yeah, you could have only made it simpler by called it Fighting in Pits.
Or just fight. So you've the aim of the game is you want to become the champion, the ultimate champion, and to do that you have to beat a character called the Masked Warrior. So he's your final boss.
He is the champion,
and he is the crown, the reigning champion, if you want to call it that. Pit Fighter, though, even though you might not think it initially, Pit Fighter takes a lot of takes a lot of inspiration from films that have no connection to that type of genre of film or game as well. Definitely Mad Max too. Mad Max Road Warrior. If you look at that game, you see a lot of inspiration in the costumes and the characters used in that film, and maybe to some extent the previous one. But I've always seen that in Pit Fighter, not only with the final boss, but many of the other characters in between. So you can see that the makers at Atari did look at other genres and other styles to take to make their game and to take a plot from. But they said the plot is very simple, and it's literally that you just want to beat the ultimate champion and you win $1 million apparently, which falls from the sky.
Yeah, it's actually quite like the end where the money is falling and the women are falling at your feet.
Yeah,
it's
couldn't be more simple. And the credits
couldn't be any more opposite to my actual life. But so I mean, presentation wise, we've touched a bit on how the graphics and that look. You've got quite a nice little introduction. I think,
it's great little montage, like a montage of all three characters training, and they're really well done. I mean, it's got soundtrack in the background, which I know Mark we'll have some chat about in a second.
It's on my list of dislikes. But that
the montages are great. I mean, it's a good introduction to the game, and it shows you a simple demo, obviously, of what the game is.
And when we say montage as well, it's exactly what you expect it's going to be. There's like a series of recorded shots, video footage come up with them training
side by side, aren't they? Yeah.
Doing Jean-Claude Van Damme split kicks and stuff like that. It's entertaining, and it pulls you into the game. As an attract mode goes, it does its job, and then obviously it breaks into like some gameplay footage, and you'll see the huge sprites and the scale, and then you're like, it tempts you in. It makes you want to have a go, and it's a fun game, which we'll get into why it's a fun game shortly. But I wanted to ask you, Glenn, when did you first play this, and what pulled you into this game?
Well, a bit like some of our previous work, really. It was never the arcade game. I knew of the arcade game, but I previously played the Mega Drive version. Right. I will not spend too much on the Mega Drive at the minute, but I will just say that I was very impressed with the Mega Drive game. Now, it's not a visually impressive game at all. In fact, the Mega Drive game looks and plays like a slightly slower version of the arcade game, but the sprites absolutely dialed back to minuscule proportions. Plus, they take out the sprite scaling, so there's none at all. But the game was so much fun. I mean, me and you were playing 2-player. In fact, I was actually introduced to it by a guy called Andy Clark. When he rented it, we played that for a while, and he liked it. I think he rented it 2 or 3 times. Next thing I know, I've got my own copy, and me and you were playing it,
Andy's on my list of people to get onto the show at some point.
Yeah, well, he would, as he would quite willing now. I'll let him know. But so again, Mega Drive version first, then I started to go back and play the arcade version. The great thing about the arcade version, I thought, was because the Mega Drive version had many of the same people involved, which I thought was excellent. Yeah. You can literally take some of the skills you have learned from the Mega Drive version, or vice versa, and then play using these moves and skills in the arcade game, and they'll work exactly as they will. Even the glitches, many of the glitches, like for instance, Chainman Eddie running backwards, that works in both versions. That's something that happens in both versions. I thought was great. So it looks to me, even though I don't have it confirmed, that some of the code was used to some extent.
Like you say, at least some of the main guys who programmed the arcade version programmed
the same similar.
All of the Mega Drive version.
If you like the arcade game though, and you bought in your Mega Drive, you'd probably be taken aback a bit by the smaller sprites, but once you start playing, you'd go, well, this plays like the arcade game, so I don't mind.
Well, I think anyone who knows the Mega Drive / Genesis, they'll know there's no hardware sprite scale in there, and generally when you do see like sprite scaling and sprite rotation and stuff on the Mega Drive, it's being coded by some software genius.
Yes,
and it's bloody impressive. Like Treasure and that,
Yeah, usually Treasure, very good examples of it. Plus, Pit Fighter came out in 91, the Mega Drive was such an early game. Yeah. It was 93 and 94 before you were seeing techniques like that, weren't you?
Yes, so, absolutely, yeah.
In those later years when the Mega Drive just came into its own, those games from those years even now were completely stunning, looking at stuff like Sonic 2 and, obviously, as you've just previously mentioned, many Treasure games as well. So, but anyway, so with Pit Fighter, the arcade game, once we started playing it, I got kicked the fuck, basically.
I can imagine, yeah. It's a scrappy combat, isn't it?
Well, it is for me, right? Again, like, I don't want to contradict what I've just said about being able to use my Mega Drive techniques in the arcade, but there is a difference in speed. Yeah. So you do need to get the pacing. Once you've got the pacing, everything falls into place, and you're like, right, I can play it like the Mega Drive. But as you've just said, it is a scrappy game. It's the combat in Pit Fighter is actually quite varied. That's the crazy thing about it. There's a lot of moves, and you can build moves on top of other moves, which is very cool.
Just to be clear as well, everyone, when we say scrappy, we don't necessarily mean it as a bad thing. It's actually a fun game. It's a good game.
It's a polarizing thing for some people, because I mean, it's not a very technical game. I've definitely said that before. You can definitely spam, because the way Pit Fighter works, it's not round, so it's not like say Street Fighter 1. It's closer to Street Smart, where you can literally wheel on the guy until either you die or he dies, and when you die, you just pop another credit in. In fact, every single enemy, even the first one, has got way more energy than your highest energy bar. And in the arcade game, you've got no way to get extra health either. So you will die eventually unless you're excellent at it. But your energy is constantly ticking down, like taking small hits and that. And I've seen energy just go down a little bit by itself as well, which could be deliberate to create some sort of a exhaustion feature. So generally, it's very unlikely. I can do it in the Mega Drive game, but I've never gotten to the arcade game. Never finished the arcade game with 1 credit yet.
No. I've played through it again the other day, and I must have probably put about 15 credits into it, I reckon.
Yeah, even on lowest difficulty, I think I'm doing 3 at the minute.
I don't know what difficulty it's on, but it was a challenge, but it was a fun challenge because you die, you pop straight back in. You're not restarting a round or anything like that. No. You're straight back in. The enemy's got his health as it was. In fact, he's busy spitting on you on the floor or something while you're putting your 10 pence back in.
Part of the characteristic of these enemies, because they all have their own individual personalities, which we'll get to at one point.
It's fun. You just jump straight back in the action and kick the shit out of them until you win, or her. This is a female fighter in there as well.
Yeah, we'll get to that as well, because that's something interesting.
So another one really. You started with the Mega Drive version, then ventured into the arcade and had to go take it probably at Seaburn. Crow's Nest, I think, had it.
Crow's Nest was the first Pit Fighter cabinet, and they had a 3-player cabinet at the time.
Yeah, I remember.
Now I know one of the other arcades just down the road from them. Can't remember the name because it only had about 4 games. Had Final Fight as well. They had a Japanese 2-player cabinet, but I never used that because I thought I like to have the fun of having the full 3-player one.
There was Jet and Selden's.
There was that little blue arcade. I can't remember the name of it. It was next to one of the restaurants. They only had about a line of 4 cabinets and then gambling machines.
I don't even remember that.
We never really win. No one ever did. We had the only 2 games of interest. Or they had a UN Squadron as well, and obviously Final Fight and Pit Fighter. So I played a little bit, and then because I think at one point they're the only arcade that had Final Fight. Because I think even Crow's Nest got rid of their big machine, or they replaced it with a different game inside. Yeah. They had that massive sit-down cab.
Yeah, the sit-down cabs,
aye, lovely cab.
40-inch screen.
Oh, great. You're sitting in all the comfort in the world, and that'd be great with a pint.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, that's what I want to make for in here. But, so Mega Drive first. But there was one other thing I think we wanted to mention here, on like the kind of introduction as I do. It's not the first digitized arcade game.
No, we'll break that down a little bit more. We'll say it's not the first digitized arcade game because there is very early games that use digitized sprites. But from what I can gather, and we've done a bit of research, but we could be wrong, the very first digitized arcade game is called The Last Apostle Puppet Show. And that, again, follows more of the Street Fighter style of boss battle fighting game where you're literally just taking on a set group of unplayable enemies and you complete the game. But that's got quite interesting sprites for a game of 1988, actually, created by a company called Home Data. So, just a little game of interest, possibly, if you like to play a historical. Because I don't think that game was actually released in the UK as well. So and I've never seen a cabinet or a PCB over here at all. But it's worth checking out on MAME or just having a look at on Google if you like.
I might add that to my list to check out tonight.
Doesn't look like it's a very playable game, but it's, again, just for a piece of history, to check out.
Why not? Why not? So what would you say is your favourite thing about Pit Fighter, Glenn?
The fighting. How can it not be? It's just, like I say, going back to the moves and that, you've got a ton of different basic brawling moves. You've got a punch, a kick, and a jump button, like the basic setup of many beat-em-ups of the time. And just by pushing either one, you can perform various different distance-related combinations of attacks. So you've got punches, elbows, and then if you start kicking, you'll do like roundhouses or just a simple straight kick.
It's like context sensitive.
Context sensitive.
Like, depending on the distance away or depending on how many times you punch the guy, you might do an elbow next.
And this goes into what we say about more of the brawling aspect of the game, where you can beat it by button mashing, but the more advanced player will learn the jumping techniques now. You've got basic jump kicks, stuff. Pressing to jump and kick together. You can even do sort of jumping punches, but they're not sort of part of the system, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
You can jump and then punch, and it's near useless, but it just gives you a bit of freedom. Obviously, the main moves, though, are the character's special moves, and most characters generally have 2 to 3, and they do the most damage usually. You've got throws as well.
Well, while we're on the subject of characters there, why didn't you break down the characters for us, Glenn? We'll start with our favourite, Ty, obviously.
How can we not talk about Ty? Pit Fighter has 3 amazing characters. Ty's a kickboxer. He has obviously various more kick-related attacks, but he likes to punch and elbow people. His special moves, he has he's got a kick, he's got a spin kick that just absolutely devastates people.
Yeah,
now
it's step over roundhouse kick, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not a completely unbalanced move. I mean, I'll always mention a lot of things to the double dragon elbow. You know, people know I say things like that now.
Yeah,
it's been pretty much broken and you can complete the game with. It's not that powerful, but it's the most powerful move in the game. Most versatile anyway. You can bounce enemies back at the crowd when they get thrown out with this kick. You can just basically demolish them anytime. You can hit more than one enemy as well if you get them together. But also Ty's got a great cartwheel, which is it's more of an evade move.
Evade move, yeah.
But that's versatile and that can be cancelled into. I'm saying cancelling for a 1990 fighting game. That can be cancelled into your moves as well. So you could be doing that move and then just hit all 3 buttons and suddenly cancel into the spin kick and just take people out without realising.
I like his jump kick as well. You know, just
that's like a snappy sort of takes them down quick.
Yeah, if you can catch them just right, it's extremely satisfying when you knock them down with that move. Especially when you got a power pill, which will also.
I'll definitely mention them. Now, Buzz is the second character. Buzz is a pro wrestler. Now I tend to consider him the middle character. You know, he's still very playable, but he's not as strong as Ty because he's slower and even though his moves do about the same damage. Because that's one thing about Pit Fighter is the characters tend to do about the same damage as each other. But obviously, a slower character's not going to do more. But Buzz is fun to play still. So, quick mention of the Mega Drive game here because it is important. In the Mega Drive version, you can only if a character picks one character. If a player picks one character, then the other player can't pick that character as well. So, for instance, if you want a tag team with your mate, then you've got someone plays as Ty and the other player has to play as Buzz. Where at least in the arcade game, you can select the same character as any of the other players, and you just have a different pair of trousers on.
Yeah,
different coloured pair of trousers anyway. But Buzz has what we like to call the square root kick. That's his jumping kick actually, but it's a very short range. It's hard to call it a kick. It's more of a hop kick, isn't it? But it does hit quick again and surprises your opponent, so that's good to take them out. Again, general combination of punches and close range kicks. I said with his basic kicks being quick to knock people down. He has a lot more throw-based specials. Hitting the 3 buttons, and we've never worked out if there's a way of doing these differently. I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
But it randomly picks one of 2 specials, both grapple moves. Either his pile driver or his throw, his slam, his body slam, basically, which is honestly looks lethal. But either way, I mean, he's fun and powerful players, and I tend to find him usually the best character in the grudge matches. So
yeah, because
just by a bit.
If you, for example, if you were to press the 3 buttons together, punch, kick, and jump, because I actually hadn't mentioned that. If you press all 3 together, you'll do your special. So Ty will jump up and do his step over roundhouse.
Kick,
But if you buzz and you've used your roll evade technique,
and then
you pop up at the right time,
middle,
you can grab Ty in the middle of his step over roundhouse and throw him and get a knockdown.
And that does help. That does work. But Buzz is great. I mean, as I said, I don't mind playing as Buzz if we're playing the Mega Drive version, just to mix things up a bit. Third character's Ty now.
Kato.
Yeah, now Kato, even going by what I've read about this guy on the net, I mean, he's very unpopular for a lot of reasons on all the versions. Some versions for different reasons. Kato was meant to be a karate master, and he's got a similar build to Ty, and sometimes if you don't look closely, you end up picking him by accident instead of Ty. And he's shite, basically. I mean,
there's no way to dress it up.
I kind of find redeeming features.
Garbage.
I would say, I mean, Kato's got generally decent basic hand-to-hand moves. I mean, obviously, again, he's basic button mash attacks for punch and kick are reasonably enough, and they'll do the damage you need to do. His special is like a strange punch combination where he'll hit you multiple times and then knock you down. But
it's hopeless though, because you'll start a special, you'll hit the enemy once or twice, you just walk away while you're still trying to finish your special.
I've seen cases where it's been cancelled out of, or another enemy's hit you. But his biggest flaw is that, and because he's an honourable man, you see, this Kato who fights for life, is he'll basically stand and sort of show respect to his opponent.
He bows at his opponent
after doing
takes him down, doesn't he?
It's like every character has the sort of has that victory pose after doing a special, but you can cancel it out on all 3 characters, but for some reason it's a little bit harder with Kato, so he nearly always takes a hit just after doing this, and it's like, do you really want to be using this move? His jump kick's weird as well. It's like, I can't describe it, it's sort of a half spin kick that sometimes doesn't hit at all, where Ty's just cuts people good. Buzz's is like a very short range hop kick that catches people out quite nice, so their jump kicks, which are very integral to the game, are good, but his is just not. So I don't know if he was deliberately created this way to make the game even harder, but he's just not very much fun to play as well. So
nah, he's not, is he?
But that's your 3 main characters anyway, as I say. I mean, in the order of our opinion, which I think will hopefully mirror a lot of the fans out there, is Ty, Buzz and Kato.
I say so, Ty is definitely the best character. In fact, to be fair, Glenn, I never play as Kato. I can't remember the last time I played as Kato.
No, and I've accidentally picked him sometimes.
So when you mentioned his jump kick there, I'm trying to rack through my brain here and think,
see what it looks like. Actually, bounces off. It often it has a window of frames.
It has to be a certain collision point.
And it's very easy to miss those frames where Ty and Buzz don't. I mean, I always remember Ty's nearly always hits and it cuts them straight down. I deliberately see it as like, a quick cut that knocks your enemy flat. So he's got a great jump kick with Buzz coming second. But Kato, as I said, just feels useless.
Kato's evade as well. He does like a jumping flip in the air.
More of a flip in the air, and that seems to leave him open.
You can't control the distance.
Yeah,
so where you land is where you land. Where
much difficult to cancel out. Yeah.
So he's everything about him is just absolute shit, to be honest. So play Ty. You'll enjoy it much more.
Yeah.
So I think controls. We've mentioned about the 3 buttons.
Yeah.
For like the evade technique, nice and easy. What you'd
just
expect is double tap,
left, right.
to one side.
It's classic.
You've got a manner of blocks and evade, like like guards and ducks and stuff.
I never use it. You have got a block. You press the punch and the jump button, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that's how you do. Yeah, that's how you do the evade. But I find it totally useless because it's just you might as well be on the offensive all the time. So it's handy to have it in there just as a feature, but who uses it? I've never used it by accident.
Now, I think probably my favourite thing, Glenn, about Pit Fighter, I'm going to say the levels, but when I say levels, I don't mean the actual arenas because they're all pretty much.
But the people who appear in those arenas.
No, the weapons.
Good.
There's nothing more fun than smashing a box off somebody's head, or chucking a knife across the screen and catching them just right.
Just right. Well, the thing is, Pit Fighter has a lot of weapons as well.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I have to mention this bit now because I thought about this when we spoke about Pit Fighter another time, and I couldn't put my finger on this, but I know what it reminds me of now. It generally happens with like the fight with the Ultimate Warrior or the Chainmen. Where you're just constantly picking up crates and bouncing them off people's head, and they get back up and you bounce them up. It feels like watching Evil Dead 2 when Ash is bouncing plates off his own head. It just felt crazy, and it was like as soon as he gets up, there's another one bounces up, and it's like it's comical. But there is a good choice of weapons, and say you've got knives and throwing stars, which work exactly how you expect. Now the throwing stars are thrown straight away, one hit. Knives can be stabbed at close range and thrown from a distance.
Sticks are my favourite weapon.
Sticks are great. Sticks can be used multiple times.
You just you use it 4 or 5 times and it breaks, but it's like a satisfying crack noise.
Interestingly enough, the 3 characters actually use the sticks a bit differently now.
Yeah.
Buzz is, I think if I remember right, Buzz is actually the best with the sticks. He hits in a certain way, where Ty's is actually a bit odd. It still hits right.
I can't remember Kato. Kato fires it like a rifle. He holds it like straight out in front of him, like he's trying to shoot somebody.
That's right. I've seen.
It doesn't even hit the enemy. It's like,
are you sure that's not Ty?
No, I use Ty all the time. I was kicking the crap out of CC Rider with sticks the other day, and it was great fun.
And it's great. You hear the crack of the stick, and that you have to pick up another one.
Kato just sucks all the joy out of that game. If we mention his name again, we should be shot.
We should. Right, not mention him again.
He doesn't exist in Pit Fighter anymore. Just forget about them.
Well, if we're going to talk about the weapons and all,
you've got to talk about the power pill.
We're going to mention that, but we'll definitely have a few more thrown weapons to mention yet.
What, like
did you know you can pick up motorbikes in Pit Fighter and you can slam them off people's heads and the wheels bounce off everywhere? I mean, this is hilarious. It's probably not meant to be hilarious, but because of the choppy animation and the low frames that appear in the characters, they just go either bouncing across the screen or they end up directly on the floor. And it's part of Pit Fighter's scrappy charm, You've got basic crates to throw. And the thrown weapons also have different behaviours. Like the crates will always burst in one go. You only get one throw of them if they hit. In fact, I think if they hit the floor, they break. But you've got bins, metal bins, which you can either slam off people's heads as well. Which, if you slam them off people's heads straight away, they explode straight away. Yeah. Or you can throw them for a distance and then you get another free hit. So it's worth really utilising the weapons the best you can and understanding how you can use them. Like I said, the throwing stars, for example, you'll literally just throw them straight away, while the knives, you can use them up close. So, like I say, it's fun. But the final item to talk about was definitely the power pill. Now, power pill is
Power
the
pill's
ultimate
fantastic.
item.
It first shows up in level 3 with
And
where
always
you're fighting
appears in a barrel, in a brown barrel as well, because that's another type of receptacle that works exactly like the metal bins, though. Works exactly the same way, except that the barrel's the only item that holds these pills, so look out for them. What the power pill does, and depending on who picks it up as well, is give you extra speed and strength, and you can't be hurt. You can barely be hurt anywhere. I've noticed that if you get picked up and thrown, that still hurts exactly the same way, and you can be still picked up,
But kicking you, punching you, and hitting you with weapons definitely doesn't hurt anywhere near as much when you're powered up with
what
a
I've
pill.
found as well, now, I used to play Pit Fighter, when I pick up a pill, I would just still spam my specials, but I don't do that anymore. If I get a power pill now, I just mash on the punch and kick button. I find the damage is just massive. I don't know if it's because the specials don't do as much, do more damage with the power pill, but your basic attacks at that point just destroy people. So you literally just mash those buttons as much as you can, punch, kick, until the pill runs out. And in some levels, there's more than one. There's 3 in one level. So just try and keep a chain of pills going, because the thing about the power pills is anybody can use them.
Yeah.
And the enemy characters also get exactly the same upgrades that you do. And in the case of 1 or 2 characters, they become near lethal. You just need to stay away from them until the power pills run out, where some you can still pick them up and throw them at least, but a couple of the biggest characters, which we'll definitely get into, you just need to just go, just stop, just hide for the full 30 seconds or so if it takes the power pill to run out.
I think just while on the subject of like the weapons that showed up, we'll just quickly walk through like the levels, but there's not really an awful lot to say. There's like a mixture of like subway stations, car parks,
gymnasium type level, yeah.
So it's just basic background. But what is good about the levels as well, you've got NPC characters like crowd littered around you, like shouting and screaming
interact with you, and they're quite cool. I mean, you've got the old man with his stick who beats you. Now, there's a little advantage to some of these characters now, because if you turn and hit this guy, you'll kill him and he'll drop his stick.
Yeah.
There's a girl who comes out and hits you, and there's a guy who comes out with a knife.
Yeah.
So again, hitting these people, if they're armed with weapons, they'll drop the weapon and you can pick it up to use and us.
Yeah.
So there's a small advantage. But the extra advantage is you can catapult enemies into the crowds and they'll get attacked as well.
Yeah, and the good thing about that as well, they'll get pushed out of the crowd. And if usually just as they're getting up, they'll get pushed out the crowd. And if you're standing in the right position with someone like Ty or Buzz,
hit them with your spin kicks.
You can grab them with your special move straight away and fire them back into the crowd. And you can literally play a game of volley with them for until they're dead if you want to.
Yeah,
it's a cheap way of playing it, but it's fun.
It's part of the technique. It's part of the strategy, I suppose. So no, it's great.
It is. So I mean, difficulty wise, what do I think? It's
I think Pit Fighter is artificially hard because because of the enemies having more health than you, and you can't get any extra health at all during the game. You will, I mean, if you're a mediocre player, you will lose credits and you might spend a few quid completing it, which is the nature of an arcade game. So I find it quite hard in that respect. And again, going back to like technique, you could be an amazing Street Fighter 2 player, know all the moves and know exactly how to react to an enemy eye and beat the game without losing a round, or just literally be an absolute master, where I don't think there's any real way to master Pit Fighter. It's just like get in there and blow.
The enemies do have their own ways. I mean, they've got their own individual personalities.
They do have a personality, and they do have little nuances as well, which some characters don't share.
I think it's probably actually the best thing to do, Glenn, is probably walk through the enemies, because then we can maybe highlight a little bit about the stages that you see them in that as well.
And I will. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. Well, the first opponent, what we'll do is we'll consider this a single player mode, because what happens in a 2 or 3 player mode, you'll take on either 2 or 3 opponents, and oftentimes, I mean, they'll just recycle opponents. Now, the extra opponents are fixed as well, depending on the mode you play. So I'm not saying you'll get a random 2nd or 3rd opponent, but what does happen in single player, in some stages you do get an enemy that feels suited to the level you're fighting. So you can see it's initially a single player game with a 2 and 3 player game bolted on. Yeah. But anyway, 8 enemies, all very unique and all very good fun to fight. First character is a guy called the Executioner. The Executioner is another wrestler like Buzz. He's actually slightly bigger. He's quite a tough opponent for your first enemy. He puts up a good fight. His special attack is a pile driver, but if he knocks you down as well, he'll taunt you. You know, they've all got their own little taunts and that, where they'll verbally abuse you and stuff. And generally most enemies have more than one as well. They're all good fun. His personality as well, though, to me, is he fights dirty because he'll get stuck into you while you're on the floor.
Yeah,
and he'll throw you around. He's got basic punches and kicks.
Have you ever seen him pick up a weapon? I mean, there's no weapons on the first level.
I believe, I'm pretty sure it has, because level 3, there's weapons in 7. So I believe he can still pick up weapons, but as you say, though, there's no weapons on level 1, but that's the executioner for you. The second opponent is one of your most honourable enemies, I like to think. Aye. At Southside Jim, which I think is a great character. Like, fights more like a basic brawler, boxer type character. He doesn't really do much in the way of kicks either. He tends to knee you as opposed to kicking you. And he loves to taunt you. Now, I'm sure I have seen him pick up knives, though. Yeah, he definitely picks up knives.
Absolutely, 100%.
I mean, again, generally all enemies can pick up every weapon. I don't think there's an example of them not being able to do that. But his special attack is he does a punch combo on you, which feels a little bit like Kato's punch combo, really. I mean, again, if he gets you with it, it's going to hurt. But the one thing about Southside Jim is he won't hit you when you're down. So that's an unusual little trait. I thought, well, he's one of the enemies who won't beat you when
it's a stand-up fight.
Aye, so exactly. So I like that about this character. Third enemy is Angel. Now, Angel will kick you when you're down. She'll use them high heels on you. She's nasty with them. Angel is the only female character, like female combatant in the game. She's the only true female combatant in the game. She likes the knives as well and will pick up literally anything she can find in the ring. She first appears on level 3, but she does also appear on level 7 if you're playing in single player, so you fight this character twice. I know one quick thing I missed about the levels was the first level is a warehouse, really.
Yeah, it is.
Simple warehouse. Nothing special about it, you know. Level 2 is more of an actual pit, if you'd call it that, where he fights. Southside Jim, best way I can describe it.
I've got very little written down in regards to what the actual levels are. I mean, it's because there is variety in them, but it doesn't matter. You're still fighting in a rectangle, essentially.
Well, there's a couple of exceptions, obviously, because there is a couple of exceptions, and they do play a difference, not a massive difference, but they do play a feature. But if I remember right, the Angel fights in a bar, which I believe the next fighter does not. That's what's coming to mind. I know the next fighter definitely does, because you
might be right. I'm not going to go back and check. I'll just wait until I play it again, which won't be long.
She, her special attack as well as she does. In fact, it's not that far off what Sonya does in Mortal Kombat 1.
Yeah,
she does a sort of grabs you with the legs and flips you over with that type of move. So that's quite nasty. So don't let her do that. Yeah, but she goes down quite easy actually. I have to quickly mention another version just while I'm talking about this character, because what is unusual is Angel did make it into the Super Nintendo version of Pit Fighter, but she's been sanitized a bit, so she's completely covered up, which I thought was very surprising, because that game came out in around 91, 92, that version of the game, right around the time when Nintendo were totally either removing or sanitizing female characters in games, especially fighting or beating up games.
Final fighting.
And she just got a little bit of a covering up, instead of she's just got like a black cat suit as opposed to having a short skirt and suspenders and that on.
No flesh.
But you're allowed to still beat her up though, and she's clearly a woman. You'd think they're so lazy that they couldn't even bother to just change her into a man. Anyway, moving on from her. CC Rider, I find him to be a tough opponent.
Aye, he likes those shin kicks. He just keeps belting you in the shins.
He just whacks you with kicks at, and there's a lot of other sticks and weapons in this level by now. So he's very aggressive.
The first thing I do is go to a stick and start beating CC Rider over the head with sticks.
He's a maniac. Do you know what is the only thing about CC Rider? I can't remember what his special move is. I'm sure he's got a headbutt, but because some characters again have more than one special anyway, as we'll get to the next fighter. But I remember CC has just been very aggressive.
Yeah.
You've got to get in there with everything. You've got to take this guy up.
Let me guess. Heavy Metal's the next one, isn't it? It's not.
The next character is one of my favourite characters of the game.
Is it Mad Miles?
It's Chainman Eddie.
Oh, of course, man. Level 5,
Chainman
Eddie.
And the thing
Chainman Eddie.
Oh, he is. Well, the thing about Chainman Eddie is now, and obviously the character after him, you do definitely fight these two characters in a train station.
Yes.
So, and because obviously you've got the trains moving in the background, so it adds a bit more character at this level.
Yeah. If you look carefully and all, there's also a Hydra poster on the back wall.
That's right. Yeah, I've seen that.
I think it's either hard driving or race driving.
Hard driving's there, I think.
Yeah.
definitely. But Chairman Eddie is one of the biggest characters in the game, and also one of the toughest. And like, he's almost more of a sub boss to the other sub
The
bosses.
thing is, though, he's so funny that it doesn't matter.
Chairman Eddie,
Chairman
yeah,
Eddie's
is
hilarious.
unintentionally hilarious. I mean, just to look at this guy, I mean, he looks like a reject from Mad Max 2. Like, they rejected him because he didn't look hard enough.
He's got glittery silver shorts on.
He's got, he looks like he's wearing, well, it's more like a tight diaper. It feels like he's wearing a tight nappy. He's got gold chains all over him, that. He's got this weird short crew cut, so I don't know if they went for a Wes look there on Mad Max 2, but minus the mohawk. But he's tough. He's so big that you've got to be careful when trying to throw him, because you struggle. You need to have a power pill to throw this guy.
Well, funny enough, you say that. I picked up a power pill on my playthrough yesterday,
And
I
it
was
didn't
trying
work.
to,
Didn't
it
work.
wouldn't let us pick him up.
Well, we had this a while back, actually, where I don't know if it glitches out or all it does is it just has a probability. So you still can't pick them up, and sometimes you can. Because I'm pretty sure I've actually picked them up sometimes without a power pill.
Definitely. Oh,
So
right.
it's
Okay.
probably without as well. So I think it works that way. So you might have a 30% chance that you can pick them up or something, which I think is fair, because if you couldn't pick them at all, the throw is a really good move in Pit Fighter.
It is.
It is really useful. And he can pick you up and throw you. He has two specials, definitely, because he's got a pile driver, so he picks you up and pile drives you. But his second one, though, is probably the most hilarious move in the game.
The best move ever.
He does a running headbutt, a bit like Bill Bull at a final fight, and it knocks you for six.
A lot less animation frames and
a lot more backwards motion.
The physics in Pit Fighter aren't exactly realistic.
He's absolutely lethal. The thing is, one of the good things about Pit Fighter, which is a charm of the game, is the enemies do attack each other as well, and occasionally, I swear that they attack each other deliberately sometimes.
I was going to say accidentally, but there is.
It looks like there's times when they occasionally do, but it could just be the AI.
I think it does like what Doom does on the PC, where if an enemy accidentally attacks another enemy, that enemy can turn around and start attacking him
for
but then that's the end of it, you know.
Yeah, but it could be still accidental. I find it funnier if it is, because Eddie, if you have Eddie in the arena with you and you're playing a 3-player game and there's two other enemies, chances are it's got to be him who does the knocking out. It's just this headbutt. It knocks everybody for 6. And it does hurt a lot. It counts like the damage of a throw or more. I think generally no move can do more than about 2 blocks of damage. I'm sure Eddie's can do about 3, where most attacks will do 1 block of damage. Because it's glitched.
When Glenn says hit for 6, it literally is a case of you flying across the screen.
Yeah, and it looks great.
It's funny as hell.
But the crown of this, though, is that he can do it backwards. And I don't think this is intentional at all. If he hits you backwards, you'll just do exactly the same. But he's a great character. He's just like, he's got a laugh as well. He laughs when he's beating you up and that, and when he's taunting you. So again, he can pick up all the weapons. Do not let this man get a power pill.
Oh God, yeah, just get away from him if you do.
Yeah, just do not let him get that power pill.
Use your evade, because especially if he hits you with a headbutt when he's got a power pill. I mean, yeah. If there was a way to break the game, that would probably be it. You're flying out the screen. You get hit with some force, I tell you.
Next character is Heavy Metal. And again, you fight him in the train station.
Yeah.
He's an interesting looking guy, and again, looks like a probably a Mad Max reject. Just covered in... is he wearing jeans? I'm not sure. I know he's got like a big sort of...
like shorts.
He's got like
shorts or something.
He's got shades and like a strange sort of wig. So he's obviously meant to be like a rocker-based character,
Yeah.
He's a good fight. He likes to roll around a lot, which is quite good, because that's good evasion. Because I don't tend to see a lot of evasion from the enemies. I don't. I mean, obviously Angel does backflips as well.
Yeah.
But I don't see a lot of anything else from the characters.
There's a load of water canisters on this level to chuck around, isn't there?
Yeah, so you can have a great fight.
8 or 10 of them or something. Yeah.
War of attrition by just blasting things at them, missing his and then just throwing them back. So you tend to kill them that way. Special move, do I remember it really? I think it could be a punch combo again. I'm not too sure.
I think it is, yeah.
But as it says, I mean, he's pretty generic any other way, but still interesting in it to some extent. For match 7, you're fighting Angel again, so we'll not get into that too much, but the level's interesting.
Yeah.
It's the first level that takes place on the freeway underpass, and it's loaded with weapons, but what you've got now is you've also got parked cars. Now, the cars look absolutely terrible.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, the pixel art, they use pixel art when they could have probably used a little bit of digitization to make the cars, and they've done it with pixel art, probably because of the damage they have to do to the car.
Yeah.
You can throw enemies onto cars, you can jump on cars, you can get enemies to jump on the cars, and you can kill enemies very quick if you get them on the cars as well, in the case of Ty.
You can pin them with like an elbow.
You can pin them with an elbow, strike constant. They're just a fun little diversion, really, but it's the first feature in the game that really breaks up the levels a little bit. But anyway, I said that the character you fight the Angel, and I would say it's just no bit more difficult.
Level 8's my second favourite level.
Level 8 is a military character called Mad Miles. Now, this also takes place on the same freeway underpass level, so you've got the advantage of the cars again. But the main weapon here is the sticks that Mark likes so much.
There's tons of them.
As I said, you can just have a stick battle, and he's a good fight. He's good fun to fight as well. I mean, he is also another unusual character in that he won't hit you when you're down, but what he does do instead, he'll spit on you.
Yep.
Which I think is quite nasty. And there's a certain other version of the game which we will mention at one point where this taunt actually becomes an attack, and I found it quite funny. But I'll go into that in a bit. But he's quite a cool character as well. Can't remember what his actual special move is, or can you?
No.
Does this maybe have a punch combo again of some sort?
I thought he headbutted you.
He might be that high, because I know he's got a lot of basic punches and kicks, but he has one other little skill. And do you not remember this one? What he likes to do is if you leave him alone for a bit, he shouts, "You're dead."
Oh,
he pulls out a knife.
Yeah, aye.
And he'll pull out knives forever. So I think we need to do an experiment once sometime, a bit like the Golden Axe experiment, where we need to see how many knives we can get in the game before crashes. Because he will, if you leave him alone for about 5 seconds, he'll pull a knife out. But obviously it's really easy to make him drop the knife, so he'll keep on pulling a knife out. I don't know where he keeps his knives, but the guy, well, he needs to avoid it.
He's got a knife belt.
He's going to cut his cellmate, I think.
The match 9, though, Glenn, which I find a little bit weird after 7 and 8 being so full of weapons. Match 9 is barren. It's got one barrel with a power pill.
There's at least a bike in that, though, isn't
there? Yeah, I think there's a bike or two, but there's like one barrel with a power pill, and that's it.
That's it. Southside Jim again, isn't it?
Yeah, and you fight Southside Jim again.
So it's not a particularly sort of standout fight. You can see that they're running out. They probably should have done about 10 different enemies. They probably just ran out a bit of time when they were building the game, because to repeat even 2 enemies, which is what you get in the single player, is a little bit sparse, I think. I mean, the next fight though is amazing.
Oh, match 10
Chain Man
is
again.
Amazing. It's the best level in the game. It's absolutely hilarious.
It is.
You'll laugh your tits off if you can get the enemies in the right situation. It's like you can literally have a game of pinball where you are the ball. Between the enemies.
But again, because you're fighting these 2 guys who tend to just wheel on everything, they often do kill each other.
Yeah.
It takes place in a high-rise skyscraper with the masked warrior sitting on his homemade throne in the background.
You start the match as well. The 2 chain man Eddies are chained up like dogs.
Yeah, he releases them and they're laughing and come at you.
Yeah.
This level has 2 power pills, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
2 eye. So again, very, very careful.
And loads of boxes and knives and all sorts.
Which again, they're picking up as well. So your best bet is to try and get the pills, separate the 2 chain men, because if you hit one with a barrel and the barrel breaks and you go to pick up the pill, it's quite likely the second guy will get the pill.
Yeah.
But again, if this does happen, all is not completely lost. Your best bet now is to try and keep the roided up chain man between the unroided chain man between you and the roided chain man, and he'll end up doing more damage to him.
Yeah, he will. He'll do his running
and that does work,
and send the other chain man flying, and you're standing there giggling, not knowing what to do, and then you get hit.
Good battle. Now onto the final battle. Well, there is one more battle we need to mention because it's a form of grudge match, but it doesn't work in the normal sense of the grudge match. Normal grudge match is just a 3 knockdowns, and generally they're over in seconds, and it's a bonus level without any real that doesn't really change the game apart from adding points, and points can't be spent, so it doesn't really matter. It's just a bit of a break for bragging rights and that. But this final match, right, depending on if you've got 2 players or 3 in, is the elimination match, and this takes place in, if you think about the final battle in Double Dragon after beating Willy, so you're literally fighting to the death with 1 credit. If I remember right as well, your health does get reset. So I'm a bit wrong about what I said earlier. This is the one match in the game, although multiplayer only, when you will get a full health bar to fight. And it's a battle royale to the death if you've got 3 players and a 1-on-1 with 2. And it is quite nasty because one man can literally only face the final battle, which is the masked warrior.
Before we're getting, sorry, I had to send an urgent text there. Before we get into the final battle, you mentioned the last grudge match there after level 10. When I played it again yesterday, I could have sworn there was going to be another grudge match after level 10, but nothing happened. There was no grudge match. It went straight into from Chainman Eddie to the Ultimate Warrior.
What, in single player?
In single player.
Oh, you do? Yeah, you don't. It's only multiplayer money.
Of course, yes.
It's multiplayer
because,
money.
Sorry,
no, it's all right. It's multi. Yeah, so if you're playing 2 or 3 player, then you'll fight the elimination match.
I was sitting there thinking, this is the last grudge match. I'm going to win again and get loads of points. And it just went straight to the Masked Warrior, and I was like, I could have sworn
it makes sense though, because you're losing the actual credit.
Yeah.
So the game, the one time in the game that does actually give you full health back is the time where somebody's going to lose money though. But it is what it is. I mean, obviously you can hack the game if you want. If you can do that, you can hack the arcade game to have all 3 players fighting the Ultimate Warrior at the end. It's done. Has been done. But anyway, the final match, the final battle. 3 power pills, tons of boxes, tons of everything.
Yeah.
Literally,
it's littered, isn't it?
It's just like literally, it looks like my flat. Honest, there's just stuff everywhere to throw at this guy. Now, I would say in some ways the final match is slightly easier than the 2 chainmen, because the 2 chainmen are very hard in their own right. Probably almost as tough as a warrior, if not about the same even.
I think, you're probably right. The Masked Warrior, he just kicks my arse all the time.
He's fast though. That's the thing about him. He's the size of a chainman, and he's got the power of a chainman, but he's fast on his feet, where the chainmen are slow. They are very slow moving. But as I said, there's that many weapons in the game, and if you've got to remember, the main problem with fighting the 2 chainmen and using the power pills is that you're always wary about the other one getting the power pill.
Yeah, more often than not.
When you're just fighting one guy, you can draw him away from that and get the power pill, and you can beat this game in seconds after that.
Yeah.
Just by slamming the box of the crate of the barrel of his head, getting the pill straight away, and literally wailing on him, like I said. He is lethal though. He's got a couple of very lethal special moves as well. I mean, the first one is a nasty backwards body slam, which he does, but he can pick you up as well, and he can break your neck. And he tends to do this if you've got I think this might be the most lethal move in the game, because I think he can do this when you've got maybe about 4 bars of health left. I mean, you do need to be low on health, but not. You can't do it on a full bar, and you can't do it on half a bar and all that. But you can do it on approximately about a quarter of a bar, if not less. So that's something you need to watch for. He'll break your neck and kill you instantly. Obviously, you'll have to continue to beat him. But he's lethal. He'll beat the crap out of you when you're down as well.
Not a big fan of that final fight with the Masked Warrior. I think after coming from level 10, which was so much fun.
I am. Yeah. I love it. It's satisfying as hell, because if you can get the 3 pills in that and all, you literally can knock him in seconds. And because you've got that much control of that battle that you don't have in level 10, there's less chaos. You've got that many weapons lying around, which is where they've broken it a bit. In fact, I personally think they shouldn't have put any weapons in that level.
Aye.
So no pills, fair enough either, but you're having to fight properly. So because the pills, at the end of the day, if he gets a pill, you can still evade him. I mean, it takes about 30 seconds, but you can still you're not timed. I mean, you're not timed as in that's going to run out. You're just timed on completion time.
Yeah, you get more points for quicker, don't you?
It generally, even though he's quite fast on his feet, you can still be quick enough as all 3 characters to just move around until it runs out. And then if there's more pills to pick up, grab the next one and try and get him on the second pill. The best bet with him, I think, is just trap him. Once you've got the pill, trap him in a corner, and you just bounce him out of the crowd like you've been doing everybody else since then. Kick him when he's down. Good fun.
But is there anything in particular you dislike about Pit Fighter, Glenn?
Well, yeah, a little bit in that it's not a perfect game. It's definitely not a perfect fighting game. It looks good for what it is, but the animation is very, very choppy. I mean, I think I know at the time, but you compare it against Mortal Kombat 1 and say, well, even though there's 2 years between them, it is noticeable. You look at that and go,
there's not many frames of animation.
Yeah.
I dare say it might even run at 30 frames a second. I'm not too sure, so don't take that as gospel. But yeah, it seems janky to the point where maybe it is less.
I think that's a good word to describe it. It's got a janky charm to it.
Yeah.
There's a bit of jank with Pit Fighter. I mean, there's more janky versions out there, but it's a playable game and it is fun.
It's good fun.
And it's decent in single player, but playing with 2 to 3 players, it's just a blast. I mean, if you're a fan of, say, WrestleMania, the arcade game, that to me feels almost like a spiritual successor to what Pit Fighter is. So that would be a game. I mean, if you like that game, there'd be no harm in stepping back a few years and checking out Pit Fighter, because I mean, there is elements of wrestling in there, but it isn't a wrestling game per se.
Yeah, that's a good game to compare it to. Actually, one that we missed at the start there. It is similar in style, really.
It's a later game, wasn't it? It's a bit more perfected, and but you can see that there's little elements there, because it's probably easy to compare to that game in some ways than Mortal Kombat, which is obviously a more pure fighting game.
Well, my greatest dislike will be no surprise to you, and that's the music. Not necessarily, not the audio in particular, because I think the speech and the sound effects are adequate.
Yeah, very good. They're well done.
More than adequate, yeah. But the music, my God, I don't know what they were thinking. You can't even see it as music. It's just a collection of random drum beats and.
Well, personally,
notes.
I don't hate the music. I mean, a couple of tunes are just a bit catchy to me. So, I think it's because I've grown up with them, so they're just memorable. I don't know if I'd call it really good music, but I don't hate it. I don't hate the soundtrack.
It reminds us of that music on the Mega Drive. Like Vector Man and that use it in one of the.
It might be like the Gens system.
Aye, that was it. Yeah, it's like it's a collection of noise. Aye, that's it. And it's awful. It's like I'd rather turn the music off.
I know what you mean. Aye. Some of that is crap, mind, like Batman Returns uses.
Yeah, that's it.
And after the first Batman game on Mega Drive, music on that game.
Aye, that was Sunsoft, wasn't it?
Sunsoft, and then they made the sequel came out, and it was like, Christ, what they've done.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just the game, but the music as well, the soundtrack.
Is there anything you want to say more about the arcade game? If not, I think we should break into some spin-offs.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with what was said on the arcade game for now. I think there's plenty of spin-offs to move on to. I'll keep them generally brief, but I'll go into them because they do all need mentioning. I think we'll just quickly talk about the Mega Drive game a little bit because it just does need a bit further mention. It's such a great game. I find it in some ways slightly more playable in the arcade, with it being a little bit slower and easier.
Yeah.
So although it's definitely not as good looking, even though I don't consider the arcade game a great looking game,
it's not as scrappy because it's slowed down a little bit. I think
it's completable in one credit as well.
Yeah,
so pretty much everything's in place where it should be as well. There's no weird surprises like missing characters or new characters or anything that should be there. I mean, the main negative of the Mega Drive game, which is a bit of a negative, is it says. For some reason, they don't let you play as the same character. I mean, all three characters have got red trousers on. Our player's Tide, Mark has to play as Buzz or Kato, know?
No, there's no Kato.
Him, aye.
Yeah, he does, just to be clear.
He's in the SNES version.
The man whose name will not be mentioned is in the game, but we're not going to mention him again.
We won't mention him, he who command. But as I say, I mean, it did have some of the original developers on the game, and they've done what they could with quite a small cartridge at the time as well, 8 megabit cartridge in 1991. So small sprites, it says, but all the animation seems to be there, all the moves are there for the main characters and enemies, all the weapons are there. The power pill functions as it should.
It holds up really nice.
Yeah, it's good. It's a great game.
I think coming from the arcade game, yeah, you'll be a little bit disappointed that the sprites aren't, the size of the screen, and they're not as clearly resembling, the actual digitized people. But they've still done a pretty good effort with what had powered a Mega Drive compared to the arcade. It's a fun game. It retains.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, as I said, it's just it does what needs to be done right. I remember playing that game back in about 92 or 93. And just having a good, enjoyable experience with my mate, and then obviously we had further experiences.
That's it. I think more important.
It did what it needs to do, give you playability.
2 players out of the 3 possibly in the arcade, which is
exactly what you expect. Yeah. In fact, to be honest, even going back to the arcade for a sec, I think sometimes the 3-player is a bit too chaotic.
It's too much. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to have it there. The option's great, but we've played quite a few 3-player modes now, and it's a bit too much. Where you want that tag team element where you can control what's happening a bit more.
Well, I've got our playthrough with Logan of the 3-player arcade. That's going to go in the YouTube video to go alongside
I kept picking the He Who Cannot Be Named by accident. I don't know how, but I kept doing it. Anyway, another version which I'll pay a little bit of respect to though as well. Even though it's not a great game, but I will give it a bit of respect for what it is the Atari Lynx version.
Yeah.
It's not great to play, and it doesn't feel exactly like the arcade, but you remember you've got this on an 8-bit handheld. And it looks good. I mean, obviously it's got Atari behind it, but it keeps the basic features of what the arcade game is. I mean, I think it's 2-player, not offhand, but obviously you'd need a link if it is. Yeah. I can't confirm that, so I don't know for definite. But it's got weapons. It's got all of the enemies of the looks of it. Because I've watched it. I haven't played it properly. Just had a few games, but I've looked at a walkthrough of a long play of it, and it's the spot of what should be done. Now another version which I'm actually always been very impressed by, which actually got very poor reviews at the time, but after spending a bit more time with it and seeing what it is for the machine it's on, I think is excellent. It's the Master System version.
Yeah.
Now the Master System version has even smaller sprites than the Mega Drive. I mean, they're comically small. Some of the enemies look like chickens charging about the place. So although I'm opening this appreciation segment with some insults, What the Master System version is, though, because I have had a few players throughs of this version, it's really good for what it is. I mean, it's a single-player game in the normal sense, in that you can't play a tag team like the arcade game. So initially that would be a detriment, because you'd go, well, I can't even play a two-player. Now all the enemies are there, and they appear in the right places where they should. It's not a digitized game. Everything's now sprite work. So respect has to be paid for them attempting to actually translate what was originally done as digitized sprites into regular pixel art. But they say the sprites don't look great, but they're recognizable. The characters are recognizable to who they are. It's got a few extra little interludes and cutscenes and that, and different music that wasn't in the arcade or Mega Drive version, but it is made by a British developer. But the great thing about the Master System version, which is sorely missed in the arcade and the Mega Drive, is you've got an actual versus mode now, a proper dual versus mode, where you can literally pick any of the 11 characters. In fact, it might not be able to pick the warrior, but you can definitely pick at least 7 of the enemies and the 3 main characters. So you've got 10 playable characters, and they actually work quite well against each other. They all have a different special move, and they all can pick up weapons and fight as normal. Although weirdly, in the Master version, when you pick up a thrown weapon like a crate, you can't move. You have to like aim it left or right and then throw it. You can't actually move with it. That's a small thing. But for what it is, and a complete rewrite of a game, because that's what it is a good version, I think. And if you have a love for the Master System or Pit Fighter in general, give it a shot and just see. You might even end up liking it.
Yeah.
But again, that's the last of the respectable console versions. There's a version out there that I don't even believe should exist, because I don't know how it exists. But the Super Nintendo version, which you'd think it would be superior to the Mega Drive game. I mean, it should look the same, apart from bigger sprites, and it should maybe even retain some of the sprite scale of the arcade, but it's absolutely atrocious. In fact, Pit Fighter on the SNES is considered the worst fighting game on the SNES, and in some SNES lists, SNES worst game lists, it's considered the worst game, the actual worst official release. Now, just to quickly talk about presentation of this game, it's got none. It has a vague demo mode that will run if you leave it for a few seconds, but as soon as you put the cartridge in, it just cuts straight to the title screen. There's no interludes, there's no extra material at all, or even a tune.
Yeah.
And on the title screen. And all 3 characters are there, fair enough, but they're severely crippled now. I mean, the control system is completely different. It couldn't be more chalk and cheese. They've just changed things in ways that just absolutely do not work. There's still like 11 basic matches to fight, but there's now only 5 opponents. For some reason, we're missing Mad Miles, Heavy Metal, and Southside Jim. And it's
not cartridge constraints either.
It shouldn't be. Now the cartridge, I think the cartridge is only 4 meg. To be fair, I think.
Right, okay,
so
maybe,
cartridge constraints could be, but I don't think. I think that's been. I think it's a prototype. I think what's happened is they've had a proper version. This is a theory. I've never heard this anywhere, so I'm the only one who's saying this, and it's coming from me. My theory is that Pit Fighter on the SNES was a proper game, probably rivaling the Mega Drive version. With all the characters and all the weapons and everything else that it should have. And Nintendo's taking a look at it and says, you can't have that level of violence and you need to sanitize it. And what they've done is so late in development that they've cancelled it all and just made a completely buggered, completely balked version of the game. Like I say, it's only 5 enemies. Strangely enough, Angel is there, because I thought if they cancelled one of the enemies, it would be Angel if they took one enemy away. There's no weapons at all. Pit Fighter on the SNES features no weapons at all.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
No crowd people.
Massive crime.
Yeah, so there's still basic crowd there that will push you out of the crowd when you go in, but there's no characters in the crowd, like individuals who will attack you anymore.
No stick man, no knife man.
It's a bit bizarre. One of the biggest crimes as well is you don't have any special moves initially. Don't have your special moves at all. What happens now is the power pill system, because that's the only thing that still exists. Now I wonder if this is part of the sanitization, because picking up a pill on the other versions would maybe look like, so they maybe went with this idea as opposed to an actual physical pill. Every time you beat a match, you now get a green P circle. And what that does is that gives you access to your special moves. In fact, I believe it gives you access to 1 special move. It might, I think,
isn't it?
Flashes. Can't remember now. But and you can have up to 3. So technically, you've only got like 3 uses of your special moves before you run out. And they're not even that great now anyway. For instance, Ty's kick is now super slow. Buzzers are probably still the best in that he actually can still grapple people, so that makes him maybe a bit better. And obviously, he who can't be named, I can't even remember, and he's useless. But the interludes between the levels and all. I mean, the original arcade game and many of the other versions, including the 8-bit computer versions, had those cool interludes with the warrior taunting you, and he looks great. He looks like the Great Humongous out of Mad Max, in all the versions.
Yeah.
What they do is now they literally rip his sprite from in-game and put him on a grey background, and they have him shouting, "Just wait," and he just sounds and looks stupid. It's like, I'd love to speak to one of the developers who made Pit Fight on the SNES at one time, if anybody ever sees this podcast, who has that credential behind them.
I think it'd be a good story. Hopefully a good story. It could just be that they were just bad at programming.
Well, I do know, quickly diversify, because I need to mention this, which I didn't know last time. They also made race driving on the SNES. Now, we need to look into race driving, because that is exactly the same. That's considered the worst game on the SNES now. It's got the same fonts and everything, and it's made in the same year. And I wonder if the other theory is that maybe a small development team, maybe 2 or 3 guys, have been tasked with building 2 games at the same time. And that's the thing. There is no cast or credits in Pit Fighter, so it could have literally been made by one guy. Which, if that was the case,
one guy who didn't want anybody to know,
or who didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So I've seen theories like that. So I'd love to talk to the people behind that game and race driving. By extension of the SNES version is also the Game Boy version, which has clearly been made by the same people or person, and it's got exactly the same flaws. Again, the weird thing is, remember the Game Boy is an 8-bit console, the 8-bit handheld, and there's the SNES version, apart from the colour, has no difference over the Game Boy at all. It's got the exact same interludes, the same lack of weapons, the same use of the power pill system, missing enemies. It's literally black and white version of the Super Nintendo game. I mean, where have you heard that? I mean, people complain about Game Boy versions which are identical to their NES versions.
Yeah.
So when you're seeing Game Boy version identical, it's actually a full Super Nintendo game from 1992. Anyway.
When we say that as well, we're not saying that it's impressive for the Game Boy. We're just saying the SNES version was so bad that you could make a Game Boy version
an exact replica of that game, just minus the colour. Moving off to the console versions, because
move on to computer.
I mean there is a few conversions that came out on PS2 packs and that, but we don't need it. It's the arcade version. But I want to quickly talk about the computer versions, because some of them are quite good. The Amiga and ST are very similar. They play quite a lot like the arcade game on a 1-button joystick, which is quite respectable. They get mixed reviews in old magazines at the time, so they weren't very well received. They were created by Dormark, depending on how you pronounce that. But personally, I've played both versions, and they're both quite good. They're not as good as the Mega Drive, but they have the sprite scaling in. Super Nintendo doesn't even have that. So the sprites are big, but quite blocky, but they look good. All the weapons are there. It's actually got some really good music, which is very unique to this game, and it's just worth a listen. So have a listen to the music on the Amiga version if you get a chance.
Yep.
I'm saying this to you.
I will. I don't think I've ever played the Amiga, or definitely not the ST.
Yeah.
I don't think I've played the Amiga version.
Oh, it's worth giving it a whirl just for a bit of respect to it.
Yeah.
There's a PC version out there which I believe has a different team behind it, but that again is respectable. I thought it plays a little bit similar to the other 16-bit computer versions, but it's got slightly higher res than that. But it's not an exact replica. It's got it feels like it's been made a bit differently. I can't really describe it because I've never spent enough time with it.
Right.
But it looks and sounds good, so I would still put it leaps and bounds above the Super Nintendo and Game Boy versions anyway. One version I have spent a lot of time with is the C64. Now, I actually really like this version. I think it's leaps and bounds over some of those 16-bit versions, but you can tell it's been made with a bit of love. All the enemies are there as well, and they don't play exactly like the arcade versions as expected from a C64 game, and it's a bit more blockier, but it plays really funny. And a little bit mentioned, well, more of a shout out has to be mentioned to our mate Mad Miles, who on his level he he actually does attack you when you're down now, and he attacks you by spitting on you. So you were down on the floor, and he's literally going at it until your health bar's gone.
Which I thought, covered in grem.
Yeah, I'm just picturing you just down there, just all moist, This guy really going at it. I thought it was just it was probably not even a deliberate thing. They just thought, how can they give him a ground attack? So they've used the animation and give him obviously a hitbox for it. But it's funny. It's a good version, I think. The next version is the Spectrum version. Now Spectrum, very respectable for what it is. It's monochrome, as you can probably expect. It's monochrome with a bit of colour. There is some colour on the characters, but it's not a colourful game. But it moves along at a fair clip, and it plays a little bit like the 16-bit Amiga and ST version. So if you paid maybe a tenner back in the day and you like the arcade game, you'd probably spend a little bit of time with the Speccy version, especially if you had a mate. It's not a great game at all, But again, I would say it's still better than the Super Nintendo game. Now, the final version, though, is a travesty. This one might beat the Super Nintendo version or be on par. The Amstrad game is based on the Spectrum, but it's been slowed down to about 25% of the Spectrum's game, so it's completely unplayable. Now, I can complete the Super Nintendo version. I know how to complete that game.
I remember watching you play
ways
it
to do it.
Jesus. How?
The Amstrad version it's just completely unplayable. I mean, it shouldn't have been released. It's got less colour than the Spectrum. It plays in a smaller window as well. So the game's clearly based on that version, but it's a travesty. So probably best avoided that one. Well, that's all the versions of Pit Fighter.
It sounds. I mean, it sounds like the Amiga version. I definitely want to have a try at that.
It's worth having a shot.
The Commodore 64, I do believe I've played at some point.
I've played the Commodore version. I'd have a go at that because I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed playing through that version.
I've got a feeling that I have played through that, or at least played some of it. But yeah, I need to go back and have a look at the SNES version. I remember it being absolutely awful. I mean, I played the Mega Drive game again in the run up to the podcast today because it is a fun game and I enjoy playing it. But yeah, I purposely...
The SNES version shouldn't have been awful at all.
No, I purposely avoided playing it because I didn't want to put myself through that trauma.
The thing is with me, I'll always say this, Final Fight came out, I mean, they're not exactly the same game, but similar, but Final Fight and the SNES came out before Pit Fighter.
Yeah.
In fact, it came out 2 years before Pit Fighter and SNES. Now, obviously, that'll be a separate story for a separate day, but Final Fight and the Super Nintendo has got a lot of important drawbacks, but the gameplay is there. So as much as it's got those massive drawbacks, 3 massive drawbacks, in fact, if you like the arcade game and you had the SNES game, because I was in this position, then you'd enjoy it. You'd be good at that. You didn't have your 2-player mode. You'd be good. You didn't have Guy, and you'd be missing level 4. But you'd enjoy what was there because it's got the feel and the playability of the arcade game. So at the end of the day, you might have spent 20 pence a time in the arcade game, and you might have spent 40 or 50 quid's worth of credits on that version. But if you could get your Super Nintendo version for 40 quid, take that game home and just enjoy it for what it was, you'd probably have a good time. It's just when you start looking at shortcomings, you'd have an issue.
Yeah.
But like Pit Fighter on the Super Nintendo just fails in every possible way compared to its arcade version.
It's just a broken mess, isn't it?
Completely.
But I think we've probably said as much as we need to say about Pit Fighter. Do you want to maybe do our reviews?
I think we should go for it, mate.
Yeah, I'll go first this time. I mean, we've talked everything about it that we can. It's a great game. I enjoy playing it. I had a blast again yesterday playing it, and to be honest, I probably only played it about a month ago. Quite recently, I played through it with you and Logan, like I was saying. It's a game I do like to jump on because you can get through it in 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I like
minutes.
now as well. I like to play a game about half an hour if I can.
And I always find myself having a good chuckle at level 10, especially. It's always good fun. It brings a smile to your face. I'm going to review this based on how I felt about it when I seen it back in '95 or whatever it was, the first time I played it in the arcades. And I was impressed with like the big spikes and stuff like that. I think it would have been before '95. Probably more like 92, 93.
I would say 92, 93, because that's when we stopped playing the Mega Drive version, where we started going down the Crow's Nest and we're talking about doing all sorts of tapes and things.
I think it would be quite unfair to review it based on what you see it now as, because obviously it's a dated game, as is the majority of the things we'll be covering on the channel. But not to bang on, I'm going to give it an 8. I'm knocking a couple of points off for the extremely terrible music. And, you know, just because it's the janky animation and stuff like that. But again, it's not a massive letdown or knockdown, for the janky animation. That I think it does have the charm. But I think 8's a reasonable score for Pit Fighter. I think it's quite a good score, actually.
Yeah, it's a solid score. Well, I'll personally give it an 8.5. Again, going by Mark's criteria as well, not the fact that like it's a game I absolutely love in the day, but still do love now. I'll play it as the janky look and the animation that doesn't grow old on me in a way, because it just, I know what to expect from it, and it's a product of its time, you know. And it was quite it was quite pioneering for the time, you know. It was something new, and
definitely back in 1990. Yeah,
I mean, this is still pre Street Fighter 2, you know, when fighting games actually became the real, you know,
one-on-one.
I mean that became a real thing, you know. And I mean, here you go, Pit Fighter in 1990, following on the coattails of things like Street Fighter, you know. And Street Smart, which is obviously close to the game we've talked about.
I think that was 89, wasn't it? Street Smart.
Yeah, Street Smart 89 as well. Oh, don't forget Violence Fight and all that was a very similar game.
That's right. Yeah, Violence
Fight. That's predate 89, I believe, as well. So Pit Fighter took the ideas used there. I mean, because Street Smart didn't have weapons and that, so, and it built on those a bit. So I said I don't dislike the music. A couple of tunes I find catching. I think they're all right for what they are in a Western developed arcade game. I still find it playable now. So, but it is a little bit flawed in that it is a very basic brawler, in that, you know, you've got some techniques that you'll just probably never use sometimes. So I mean, I think they got what they wanted though, because it is brutal, bare bones, you know, and violent. Where, you know, you play something like Street Fighter 2 and you're looking at a more technical game, you know, where you use skill. Pit Fighter, you use coins.
Yeah.
But again, for me, that is an arcade game, and that's what you'd expect. I mean, something like Street Fighter 2, although definitely an arcade game and one of the most famous games in the world, most well loved, it can be beaten by an expert in one credit if you're really good. So it actually in some ways goes against what an arcade game is, and quite a few games will cover like that, which we already have as well, where Pit Fighter does the absolute basics of what an arcade beat 'em up should be, and generally an arcade game. So 8.5 for me, and I still love it in all its versions except that Super Nintendo version and Amstrad and Game Boy, of course.
I think recommendations for me, if you have played Pit Fighter and you've enjoyed Pit Fighter, the most modern game, like I said at the start of the podcast, here is probably Power Stone.
Yeah.
Power Stone and its sequel, Power Stone 2, obviously.
Yeah.
They're very good, similar kind of idea games. I think you'd very much enjoy Dreamcast version and arcade version, both the same.
Without a doubt, yeah.
And like Glenn mentioned as well, Street Smart and Violence Fight,
yeah,
they're very similar games.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of games like it. There's not a lot of games like that follow Pit Fighter's exact sort of formula, where you're playing a multi-layer brawler and that, you know, you're moving in and out of the screen, and you're taking on a set of basic, what you could call boss enemies, and then moving on to the next set. You know, it's like, I mean, one of the close examples, I suppose, almost could be, say, the arcade version of Renegade, and that you're taking on a small group of enemies and then moving on to the next stage. But that's still close to a proper
a lot more
belt
technical.
scroller, and there is a bit more technique to that. So, but Pit Fighter, again, a Western-made game, so I expect that style and layer of work to be put into it. So it does what it does for me. 8.5, as I say, absolute. So,
well, I think that'll do for us today, bud. Just want to say thank you very much to everyone for the support. If you've got it this far, don't forget to subscribe, give us a like, drop us a comment, and we'll see you guys next time.
Take
Thank you
care.
very much.
Goodbye.
Bye now. Bye.
Bye.